YouTube. So I've got a Peavey Generation EXP Piezo. And I'm going to sell this because I don't need another Telecaster, although it does do some interesting things. Yeah, so playing through the orange TH30 just now for the electric sounds, but it's also got a three-way toggle here. So forward is electric pickups, back is the Piezo pickup. It's got Graphtec saddles with Piezo pickups in it, and its own volume control, which I currently think it's that one. Yeah, so that's the volume for the Piezo, and that's the volume and tone for the electrics. But and in the middle you can blend between the two. So it's kind of, it's basically just a really nice telly. I've actually had a couple of these through in the last couple of months. The first one was my pal Scott had one of these that he got off his pal, because at the time these came out they were about 350 quid, something like that. And the Fishman Piezo system was more than that, just for so people were buying these guitars and then taking the Fishman, because it's not just the saddles, there's also I think it's called a power chip, because you can't just mix electric and acoustic sounds without some sort of, there's impedance problems. I've tried doing it myself. That's why any guitar you've ever seen me with, it's got a Piezo and a magnetics, it's just got two outputs, because you can't mix the two of them together. It doesn't work. You need some sort of technical circuit boardy stuff, which is in this, to do that. Yes, where was I? Yes, so I had one of these from a pal Scott, which basically I got without any of the, somebody bought it, ripped the bridge out and put it into their £2,000 Fender, as you would, because it's the same thing, and then this sat in the attic. So, and then I had one later on, which was basically this exact same guitar, but it didn't ever have the Piezo thing in it. Yeah, so it's a really nice wee telly. It's actually got a 5-bolt neck, which is quite weird, which actually makes it quite difficult to put any other type of neck on. And see, to think about it, I'm pretty sure that actually the one, no, it definitely wasn't, because I put a Squire neck on the one that had never had the one that didn't originally come with the Piezos, which kind of looked the same. It was a very similar guitar. I never had the neck for it. It didn't have 5 bolts, because I would have remembered going, don't know how easy it is to replace the neck. Probably just put an extra bolt in it, but it means you can't use the normal what do you call it, 4-bolt neck plate. I put eight pickups in it or something like that, something silly. That's a great guitar. So it's basically, I was going to say a double bound telly. It's not just a top, so it's not quite Telecaster shaped. Could be a bit cleaner. Could have given it a wipe before I started playing. HSS layout. Oh, that's an interesting point. I probably shouldn't do this live, but I wonder if it's got automatic coil splitting. So, fully on in position 2, does it automatically coil split? You know it does. That's going to look staged. It's not. So, you've got a humbucker in the bridge. And in position 2, you've got this one coil split in the middle for strap position 2. Wow, am I missing having reverb? I've already disconnected that amp, which has got reverb on it. The orange doesn't. Need to get a reverb pedal. Middle pickup. Position 4. Neck. Rat pedal. Where's the try to do some? Yeah, so as you can see, proper full-blown, well, super telly, would you call it a super telly? I know you get a super strat, which you basically get like a Stratocaster and you put a humbucker in the bridge. So this is kind of like a super telly, well, not really, because a telly's only got 2 pickups. This does the strat sounds as well, so this is kind of like a super strat in a telly body. But very versatile, having a humbucker on the bridge. But the thing that really gets it going is the fact it's got the Piezo pickup in it. So one of the issues I've always really had with the Piezo thing is why I built the double neck Telecaster, which has, it's a Telecaster with 2 necks. Yes, so one of them has acoustic strings on it, the Piezo thing, and a separate output, and then the other one's got electric strings, electric pickups, and another output. So you kind of ideally want to be putting an acoustic into a PA or an acoustic amp, and an electric into an electric guitar amp. So you need a switch to do that with this, which I've actually got set up because I've borrowed this. It's not a big amp, it's a Fender Acoustasonic 15, but I'll play it through the clean channel. This amp is running at a really low power. It's a 30 watt, but I've got it halved to 15 watts. Then there's another half button, so I've got, like, you can turn off half the output tubes and half the input tubes. So it's currently running at 7.5 watts. So not the most fantastically clean sound, but still relatively clean. So this is the Piezo pickup coming through an electric guitar amp. With that, I haven't done any faffing about with the EQ or anything like that. That's just what I had it set at. You can actually also mix in, if you go into the middle, you can add in the, so I'll put in the neck pickup as well. That's just a Piezo, just the neck, both at the same time. Cut it down a little bit. Where I can really see this being a super useful thing is if you're doing gigs and you've got an acoustic song, but only one, or you don't want to have to actually put the guitar down and pick up an acoustic. It's just a switch. Or even if you're clever about it and you want to be, I mean, and that Piezo sound coming through your electric guitar amp isn't acoustic enough, you could just buy like an AB pedal and then just give the sound guy or stick it into the PA to get the other one, and you've got your own volume control on it, so you've got some control. No, the tone control's for the electric, so it's just a volume control. But if I put on the other, the amp, maybe, wow, it's much smaller, isn't it? It sounds much more acousticy, but I mean it's a wee tiny 15 watt thing, not a monster. It's got, I don't even know what size that speaker is. Tiny. There's actually a chorus on it. I need to do a demo of this amp at some point actually. Let's just go back onto the orange. Even though it is actually, I'll actually play through both of them. It's definitely got an acoustic-y thing. Maybe, especially see if you're running. Oh, another. I've actually borrowed a pedal off my pal. I've not even tried. It's an acoustic. Oh, it's an acoustic modeler. But so you probably wouldn't even need that for this. But any of this, especially if you've got like some sort of multi-effects board or an EQ pedal, you can probably tweak it a lot so you can get a much. I mean, to be honest, that's if you're playing in a mix with a band and you're using that as your acoustic sounds. It sounds damn acoustic-y enough for me anyway. Considering it's going into an electric guitar amp, which isn't designed for that. actually going to put this back into the bass amp where it normally lives, because it's not competing. You can't really run a wee tiny tranny amp with a 6-inch speaker or whatever it is alongside manly gigging amps. So it sounds great on its own, but it can't compete when you've just been listening to that 2 seconds ago. A lot to do with just how you strum it. So that's the magnetic pickup, the acoustic off. It does give that zing, doesn't it? Do that again, but turn the volume down a little bit because that was damn loud. So I can just with the lip pedal. But I didn't turn. I'm only learning. Yeah, that's why the volume didn't be doing anything. I had the magnetic pickup on as well. But there maybe. If that was an acoustic doing that bend, it would be painful. Both pickups. Down a wee bit neck, huh? So there you go, the magnetic pickups aren't as loud as the acoustic ones. Really get a difference, eh? Rat pedal. So this is really just to show you in a mix, okay, on its own, but imagine your drums and other stuff going on and we do. Sorry, that's the volume. The Piezo. Yeah, so I mean, what to do with this? The thing is, I know that I looked on eBay. The bridge with the power chip goes for in fact the bridge goes for £200 on its own, and the only one I can find is in America, and it's £587, $715. I don't think they go for that much. I'm thinking if I sell this for like $250, or like, because I can't be bothered doing it, $200 just for the bridge and the power chip thing. Because I mean, the guitar itself is actually a really good Telecaster. It's not quite a Telecaster, but it's quite tastefully done, and I'm really impressed. It's got the automatic coil splitting, so you've got like an HSS. The neck on it's really nice. It's an absolutely, well, apart from the fingerprints, because it's jet black, I could have given it a wipe. It's pretty much mint condition. I'm not really seeing any sort of any wear. It's like my lead's not very good. There's no fret wear at all. Not any sort of no, that was just a wee bit of dirt that came off my finger. It basically kind of looks new, really. Far better condition than any guitar I ever buy. So the neck on it's a kind of, it's basically kind of like a Telecaster neck. It's not really thin, but not really chunky. A right in the middle, everyman's neck. Decent tuners on it. Unbranded. A sort of satin finish. I would say that's probably a 12-inch radius fingerboard. I'm going to take that guess. It's either 12 or 10 into it. That's really the only two options it's ever going to be. I think it's a 12. Seems quite flat. This is where I go, oh no, I'm wrong. I don't know, let's see. Let's see. Okay, just to go below this. 12-inch radius fingerboard, so a bit more modern and a bit more flatter feeling than like a Fender Strat or something like that. But really nice, low action, really, it plays really well. I did a wee bit of setup and a wee bit of adjusting intonation. I think these saddles might be upgrades. I don't know, how could it have Graphtec and Piezos in them? I'm not going to wonder about how the technology works, but it does, and you get your acoustic, and I have had it turned off. So I mean, basically the thing is, if you're playing like a gig or through a PA, you don't really need an acoustic as such, because you kind of almost don't want the sound to come out the sound hole of the acoustic. You know, that's why you get like a rubber thing you put in the sound hole to stop it coming out so it doesn't feed back and stuff. This won't feed back. Just use it as an acoustic. I mean, you could feasibly, my pal had, what was it? I did a Chet Atkins guitar years ago when they first came out, and it was basically a solid body acoustic guitar that had a sort of sound hole looking thing, but it was just basically just a hole. It wasn't hollow or anything like that, and it had this piezo, and that was like just an acoustic. So it was really, why not just have this? That was basically did everything this did, or this does everything that Chet Atkins does. So you could literally just play an entire acoustic gig with this. If you were maybe going that, I would maybe put acoustic strings on it rather than electric strings. But then it gives you the option, especially I like the way that, see, sometimes it's a little bit bright and jangly just using the piezo, but you can blend in, a bit more bottom end with the magnetic picker. As opposed to mix the two together. You get a bit more body in it, but if you've got a sound guy and stuff like that, it's going to sound great, which means you can do your acoustic power ballad in the middle of the set and not have to bother changing guitars. Also, it means that kind of a wee bit of the problem I'm having just now in the Black, it's not really that much of a problem in the Black Sabbath band. We tuned down to C sharp for some songs. The guitarist uses a Digitech drop thing. I don't like that. It does it. Maybe I'm imagining it, but the idea of it is like kind of no. So I've got a C sharp tuned bass and a normal tuned bass depending on which song it is we're doing. So in that case, we've kind of had to group the songs into, start off in standard tuning for 2 or 3 songs, four songs in the middle in C sharp, and then back to standard tuning for War Pigs to end. You know, that kind of thing. You have to group them together, whereas the same way you would if you were doing an acoustic set, like in a pub band or whatever. You would kind of group, if you're changing onto acoustic, you'd want to do all the acoustic songs in a one. Whereas this, it's literally just a case of flipping a switch and turning off the distortion on your amp. Really, or just unstomping your rat pedal to get the acoustic ones. And I mean, it's even pretty convincing just now, just me playing it on my own as an acoustic. Imagine what that sounds like with a full band playing. There's no way you're going to be able to tell with that, apart from looking at it. You're going to get, I imagine you probably get accusations of using backing tracks, actually. Like, but oh, that acoustic song was that was a backing track because none of them were playing an acoustic guitar. It's like, yeah, but this is this. I mean, the only thing that really nothing tells you that it's, there's nothing to say this is acoustic. Okay, it's got black saddles, but you get Graphtec saddles anyway. You know, it doesn't. There's nothing. The electric guitar isn't compromised in any way. If you turn that switch to the front, okay. If you turn that switch to the front and just use an electric guitar, this knob doesn't do anything because that's for the volume for this, for the Piezo. But it's just that's it. You've got a full blown T-type, I suppose you would call it. And a good T-type at that. A good T-type that has Strat sounds 2 and 4 in it as well. Even though I'm really missing reverb. So this, I'm trying to disconnect myself to it. I got it in a trade, along with an amp and another guitar, and the way I sell guitars is, this is not mine. Not mine. In my head, I can't have any more guitars myself. Bought that for myself. It's like trying to buy these things or trade for these things, and before I've even played it, it's like, no, I'm not going to keep that. I've distanced myself for it, so I don't have any attachment, and I'm not tempted to take it into the studio and try it in the band, because it would be awfully easy to take it into the studio and then end up keeping it. And I don't want to keep it. I don't need any more guitars. Plus, also, if I really wanted to, none of the songs in the band are acoustic anyway. I would end up writing a song that had acoustic in it, and if I did that, I would want to take in my double neck guitar made out of a door, because I've got a double neck guitar made out of a door. Proper impractical. In fact, actually the reason I haven't taken it in is because I don't have a case it fits in, obviously, and it would be a bit embarrassing walking into the studio like that people are just going to go, that guitar made out of a door? Yes, it is. Cool. So if I could hide it a little bit better, maybe take it. But I mean, these guitars are amazing. Just the bog standard guitars, you've seen the last couple of reviews of me playing these guitars, and the guitar itself is fantastic. The Piezo thing is just a massive, I mean, if nobody buys it, I'll take out the Fishmanship and I'll sell that on eBay and get 200 quid for it, and then that means I've got this guitar for 50 quid, and I'll just put on a normal bridge and I'll put something else in the 2 holes, so that would leave me with a hole here and a switch. What did I do with the last one? I could just put I'd have a tone, a treble, a low pass filter and a high pass filter, and a Gilmore switch or something on it, and then I would have another guitar that's easily worth 100, 150 quid just as a Telecaster. I was quite shocked the other day when we were up at Scott's. They showed me that Harley Benton, and it really, I mean, it was okay, it was only 90 quid or 85 quid or something like that, but I mean, that's very, very expensive compared to something if you could buy like the without the Piezo stuff version of this for like 150. That's the bargain of the century compared to something like that. If you're buying a guitar at 100 quid and it's absolute crap, this isn't even in the oh, it's okay section. This is actually, no, it's actually quite a good guitar. You know, it's like it's even a nice guitar. You could definitely gig it. It doesn't have any shit bits on it. You know, it's like, look at it, especially even if you're looking at your Squire bullets and stuff like that. It's like pure, yeah, well, the tuners are pure shit. They're kind of alright for if you're just going to play it in the house sort of thing. It's like decent tuners, and it's like the upgrading thing. You could put a Seymour Dunk in it. Doesn't need it though. It's like or whatever. You know, it's like your fancy pickups. It doesn't need any of those things. Everything on it's fine as it goes. It's totally 100% usable and good. Again, it just doesn't have the brand on the top. It's a Peavey, and it doesn't have the right shaped headstock. Whereas if this had said Squire or Fender on it, it'd be super mega desirable. What a bound Telecaster. Because you pay for the what's written on the headstock. Gibson, Fender, Epiphone, yep. That it's basically, is it half the price of the guitar? Probably not as much as half the price of the guitar for having Epiphone written on the headstock compared to Vintage or Peavey or something. You're one of the quality makes, not Harley Benton anymore, I'm afraid. I'm sorry if you're a Harley Benton fan. I count that as a negative. If it's got those things written on it, same as like even if you look at Ibanez or Yamaha, you know, it's like the £300 Yamaha or the £300 Yamaha Ibanez compared to the £300 Squire or Epiphone. There is absolutely no competition whatsoever in what's the better guitar. There's nothing there. What does come in is later on when you try and sell it. If you buy it new for 300 quid and then 6 months later you decide you need to sell it, the Epiphone or the Squire will probably be worth more than the Yamaha or the Ibanez because folk are stupid. But I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, it's like you're talking about value. I mean, that's the thing about my guitars. I mean, a lot. I mean, even something like my new Roadster, which Scott gave 10 out of 10. There's a lot. There's Squires that are worth more money than that, and I'm not talking about early 80s Squires. I'm talking about the current classic vibes and stuff are worth more money than that guitar. And it's like, are they as good as that guitar? And it's they're not even. There's no fight whatsoever. There's absolutely nothing. There is no chance. It's not like, oh well, it does that. No. Every single thing about that is significantly, humongously better than the equivalent Epiphone or whatever, or it's a Strat, so the equivalent Squire Strat is eons above, but it's an Ibanez from the 80s. It's not even one people know about. You can't look up eBay completed listings and see what they sell for because there won't be any on. There might have been one or two on this year. But who knows? Whereas if you I've got a blah blah blah. I keep bad mouthing Squire and Epiphone. Fuck them. Like all the other YouTubers, they can send me free guitars and then I'll lie. I don't think I would. They're not going to send me free guitars. I'm their worst nightmare. You do get acoustic simulator pedals and stuff like that, which are actually pretty good, even the sort of relatively old technology ones. But this is an acoustic, and it's the difference. It is different. It is an acoustic. It's not, that's a really good simulation of an acoustic. No, it is an acoustic. Same. Enough of a rant. Someone was saying I was sounding bitter last night on my live stream, so I don't want to be bitter. Rock on, catch you later.